Hi, I'm Lauren, a mom, former teacher turned children's book author, and your host who joins special guests each episode as we share our top kidlit picks for sparking hard conversations the easy way. Yep, that means everything from tackling bullying and out of control anger to celebrating diversity, inclusion, and leading with kindness, plus so much more. My whole mission of my own children's book series, Blooming Rose, is to provide social and emotional support tools for in and out of the classroom, and this podcast is my way to expand that mission even further. So stay tuned as we dive into this week's topic on the Blooming Books podcast. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another thoughtful episode of the Blooming Books podcast. Our guest today is a local pastor here in Katy, Texas, and an author of the brand new children's book, Pickles for Breakfast. So meeting Carolyn has been like a breath of fresh air, a positive light, and such a comforting support in our community. And I'm so happy that our paths have crossed and we could share this chat together. So welcome to the podcast, Miss Carolyn Soto Jackson.
What an honor. Just an absolute honor to just be on a podcast that is flourishing and an author that is booming. So thank you for having
I
me.
know. And it's so exciting for me personally, just when I meet other children's book authors in our area and we get to go meet up at coffee shops and do fun events together and stuff. So, selfishly, I love it, but also we love getting to share this with all you guys on the podcast too. So, I do always like to start off with some rapid fire questions so we can get to know you a little bit better. So, are you ready?
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
So, number one, it's safe to say that we are both obsessed with our local coffee shops, as mentioned. Shout out to Homebrew. They're all such beacons for community and gatherings. But when you go there, what is your go-to coffee order?
I don't actually think there is anything else on the menu except a latte with almond milk in
Yeah.
a mug. And you
Yeah.
can't get in a to-go cup.
Do you
Latte
do
with
the
almond
flavored
milk.
lattes? Are you like a pumpkin foam
I,
girly during the
I
fall, or are you just the basic?
I am just basic and don't change it up. Don't put it in a to-go cup. I like it in a mug. Simple gal. Latte with almond milk.
Yeah.
Appreciate that one.
I love a good latte, especially when we're pretending like it's fall outside here in Texas and it's most definitely almost 100 degrees still. But
You just go
um,
sit under the AC unit and have your
yeah,
hot
we look
latte.
out the window and just imagine it's cool.
100%. Absolutely.
So, your precious story takes place in a farmland setting, which of course I'm biased to here on our little farm, but you have a host of animal characters. Do you have any pets, and what kind of pets do you have at home here in Texas?
Oh, goodness. So I have one pit bull named Moose, and there
Oh,
is not much going on between the ears.
yeah.
Just normal pit bull activity, just dumb as a doornail, but as cute as can be.
I have a lot of
And
those.
then
Yeah.
as of yesterday, we're going to get into the bee business. So we're
Oh,
probably going to have two hives by, I believe, end of April, maybe May.
yeah,
So
that's exciting. I
we're going
saw
to be
your
bee
post. I
people.
didn't read it all, but yeah, bees are very so beneficial to like our whole ecosystem, and um, it, even though it's kind of intimidating, are you a little intimidated with the bee stings and stuff, or do they really become one with the bees in your bee suit?
I am wearing it proud on the side of my face today. I'm showing it to everybody. No, yesterday I didn't know what I was doing. I got stung and I was like, I'm a part of the tribe. You know,
It was your initiation.
it was absolutely, how can I get upset when I go digging into their home
Yeah,
unannounced, stealing their food? I can't be upset at that. So I fell
absolutely.
in love with it immediately and came home so I'm gonna have to pick up a couple of jobs here and there, sell a few books, and then we're gonna go ahead and
And then you can start selling
get
some
some
honey.
bees.
I mean, that's a hot commodity around here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I noticed also on your blog that you ventured to Big Bend National Park, which what was your favorite part of that big little road trip? It's here in Texas, but of course Texas is on the way other side of the Texas. But are you planning any more park trips, and what were your thoughts on Big Bend? Because I've always wanted to go there too.
Please get over there. It's gonna be the best 8 to 9 hour trip you've had.
Yeah.
There's a something different you experience when you go to a national park. I believe
Yeah.
it's just different. So I was the same way. All of the years that I've been on this earth, I had never been to Big Ben. Finally took a trip last October Had so much fun. We went again in February. That's the only, and we've been to numerous national parks. This is the only national park we've been to back in more than once. So highly recommend Big Bend. I would have to narrow it down off the top of my head, two big things. It's a toss up between the stargazing at night
Yes.
and the wildlife. I
Oh, wow.
mean, we saw fox and tarantulas and snakes, and we didn't get to see any bear. My husband was very happy about that. I was very disappointed, but
Same.
it's
I want to see bears. We went to North Carolina and I was like on the hunt for bears. I did not see a one.
Mhm. And you know they see you.
Right,
You know, they
right.
see you. They're there. But Dana was very happy that we did not encounter a bear. But I please make time to go to Big Bend. It's absolutely breathtaking. Whatever you think you believe about Big Bend, it's probably not it. You
Like
walk
so
or
much
you
better.
drive in and it's like a mile to get inside the park, maybe a little bit more, and it just looks like rocks.
Yeah.
When you get in, it is lush and green and absolutely wonderful. So
Wow.
please highly recommend.
I
get
know it
over
looks
there for
so
sure.
gorgeous. I want to be, that RV traveling family that just, hops all these national parks and starting right here in Texas because there's such a diverse, ecosystems and environments from the east side to the west side, north, south, all the above. That's awesome.
We are hugely blessed. I think we don't realize as big
Hmm.
of a state as we have. We tend to stay in our own little area. But you
Yeah,
think of Houston's an hour away from Houston. Katy is, 35 minutes away from
it
Katy.
is. And we're an hour away from the beach, and then you're a few hours away from the desert. So it's crazy.
Correct.
And the hill country,
So
of course.
I love it. Definitely make your way to Big Bend.
Will do. So, in this episode, we're highlighting the theme and purpose around your new book, Pickles for Breakfast, which really gives kids a glimpse into conflict resolution and, most importantly, forgiveness. There is a special inspiration behind the story. So, can you first tell us a little bit about your nephew, whom you wrote it for, and why?
Oh, yes. So I have one and only sweet, sweet nephew. And a few years ago, the doctors were telling my sweet sister, there's something wrong, something's not right. He's doing this that's different. He's not doing that, and it's different. And because she lives in a small town, there was not really the outsourcing to get second opinions, and he wasn't speaking on time, and there's a speech delay, and you know what? He might not ever speak again. And of course, the family, we start really getting confused.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We don't understand. He's the first new baby in the family here, and so there was just a lot of questions, and the doctors and therapists just didn't have any words. It was just, we'll see you in a month. We'll see you in 6 months. And so finally, we just went into prayer and said, okay, well, I'm just going to write a book. And with this book, he'll be able to sound the words out, and we'll get this. This kid is going to talk. In my heart of hearts, I knew. And so I honestly, there was a little bit of tension there of, who are you to come into
Hmm.
to my sister's house and deem what is and what is not about her kid, and to kind of stereotype him immediately at
Right.
2 years old. And so, and I know they have their job and they're really good at them, but there was a lack of communication, and it actually startled her, and it was almost unnecessary. So again, I wasn't there. I only get one side of the story, but I wanted to intervene. My husband wanted to intervene. What can we do? What are we good at that we can help? Okay. And so it's not about writing a check. What gifts and callings do we have that we can help our nephew? So we decided to write a book. And so, unfortunately, if you would, are you okay with knowing a secret?
Yeah, of course. I love
Okay.
secrets. Duh. Yeah.
Okay. The secret is this book was never supposed to be published,
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
And it actually started from a near argument with my husband.
Mhm.
So, this book and its idea sat in my email for years on end. Before my nephew was even thought about and conceived, my sweet little husband knows that I love pickles. And so one morning he just came in and said, hey, I've got breakfast taken care of. I was beside myself. Oh,
Yeah.
this is amazing. Sounds good. I don't have to cook breakfast. And I went to go get dressed and all ready. I come out and I have this beautiful plate. And he brings out, and there's a plate, and there's eggs and roasted potatoes and a big pile of wet pickles. And the pickles are just, they're just wetting everything. And so he saw my face and he was a little discouraged. And over the course of the hours, I found out that I had hurt his feelings,
Yeah,
and so for lunch he took me to one of my favorite restaurants, and I said, you know what, I'm so sorry. I thank you so much for breakfast. What can I do? And he had just snarly, just, yeah, I've always wanted a green pig, named Pickles. And it sounds like a pretty good book. It could be a children's book. And I was like, okay, we got words out of him. And I just emailed myself about
the
a pig named
story.
Pickles. And so growing up with farm animals, all types of farm animals, I just emailed myself the little idea. And then once we started rolling with the news with Gabriel and the struggles with communication and quote unquote deficiencies,
Mhm.
we weren't in agreement with. So we just went ahead and sent it over to the publisher and said, hey, Mr. Publisher, I just need one copy of this book. It's gonna be a gift. It's gonna be a gift for my nephew. And he read it and he goes, great, we're going live. No, no, we're not. No, 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 sorry. No, we're not going live.
Yeah, just
I
one.
just need one copy of the book. And he says, no, we're going live with a book. We're putting your other book for 2026, and we're moving forward with Pickles for Breakfast. And I said, no, you don't understand. We're not going live with this book with anything. I just need one copy. He goes, I don't care what you want. We're doing this before Easter. And so Pickles for Breakfast rolled out faster than anything else. And so this whole situation is for ABA therapy and speech therapy for my sweet nephew, Gabriel.
I love that. I mean, I find a lot of authors that I come in contact with will say, "Oh, I wrote this story and I had this story," and it kind of sits on the back burner for a while. And I feel like there is, the right timing for things. And when it's a go, it's a go. And whether you want it to or not, that story needs to be out in the world and told and shared and enjoyed for all the kids. So that is quite the amazing story for Little Pickles. So, in the story in particular, your animal friends are met with the unsavory actions of Finn the fox. So, can you tell us a little bit about that story, the premise, and the predicaments he finds himself in, including with Mr. Pickles, the pig?
So with
Hmm.
Finn, he is really sneaky. And Finn, out of all the characters, there's 13 characters in the book, I relate to Finn more than anything. Finn reminded me so much of myself as a kid. I wasn't a bad kid, but I could find myself in trouble for anything and as fast as humanly possible. My sweet grandmother, who had dentures,
Hmm.
is the one that I would blame when my parents would come to me and ask, why are there teeth marks in the cheese block? And I would blame her, not knowing that my size teeth and her size teeth
Yeah, I mean, it seems
are two
pliable. Yeah,
completely different things.
plausible.
Absolutely. Or, falling out of the tree that I was specifically not told to climb.
Mm,
And so Finn and I relate very, very much. He's just a little sneaky, but he doesn't mean to be sneaky. He's not trying to be mean or rebellious. It was just in there. You get bored and you find yourself in a little bit of trouble. But what he does is instead of listening to his friends or his family, he gets in his feelings a little bit. And instead of expressing them or communicating them well, because he doesn't get his way, he wants to take matters in his own hands. And so this book is a way to relate to the kids saying, hey, you're not the only one that gets bored. You're not the only one that doesn't get it your way. But there's another way. Let's communicate. Let's not go around the mountain more than once, so to speak. Let's talk to our friends. Let's talk to our family. What are you feeling? What are you expressing? And so that's one thing that I really wish I did have as a kid. And so when I can relate to Finn and kind of get in those little sneaky little places, is gosh, I was actually feeling something and not expressing it to the best of my ability. And I wasn't being asked the right questions to communicate it. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to take it in my own hands and I'm going to try to figure it out. And 100% of the time, I failed miserably.
Yeah.
I got in trouble, I got hurt, whatever. And so that's about that. That's Mr. Finn's story. He is just one that's going to test the boundaries and he's going to try to do things his way. But there's a sweet side of the story that, he comes and just has an opportunity to kind of be let back in to the barn and he chooses wisely.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Mr. Pickles, who I think, I can see a lot, that's why I love children's books and this whole podcast because there's really a situation, a scenario, a character that fits, every situation and scenario and characters that we have here in real life within ourselves and our kids. Um, and so you see Finn, make mistakes or, hurt someone's feelings and that embarrassment and the shame that comes from that. So in the children's books, I love how you can kind of see so many different sides and you get to see the different characters and how and put yourselves in their shoes. So you have Finn who might have made, a not so good decision, which in turns, hurts people's feelings, which in turns causes him shame and embarrassment. And, his initial response is just to run. But then you also see it from, Pickle's sides, whose Pickle is the little compassionate pig, right? And instead of, being mean and upset and angry with him, it's really about how he finds that forgiveness and compassion. So I love how the root of the story is really about teaching empathy and that taking a moment for curiosity and understanding can help turn these situations around for everyone. I know kids really learn through modeling similar experiences of feeling hurt, frustrated, angry, and showing them how explaining intentions behind those hurtful reactions or those hurtful actions, I should say, can help in granting grace and patience with others. So, as a pastor, do you have experience, with helping adults work through these conflicts? Because modeling and how we react is one of the first ways that they learn how, they're going to react. But it's definitely easier said than done.
Very much so. Very, very much so. I think there is uh, almost a disadvantage for those that follow Christ because there is a
Hmm.
level of expectation to have it all together. And then as a pastor, that's what we do. We see people that are hurting and that are hurting other people all day, every day.
Yeah.
That's what the church is literally open for, is to love God, to love people. But you know what? It's hard. It's
Love
hard to do
yourself.
those
Yeah.
things. And so some people just simply pretend that they have it all together but they're only fooling themselves. They try to put on this facade, and it's just simply not true. So, what Daniel and I try to do is we express not to focus on this perfection, because at the end of the day, we simply cannot be perfect.
Right.
Should we try to be better? 100%. Should we love as best as we know how? Absolutely. But we're never going to be perfect. So, let's just focus on the relationship aspect. Let's focus on our relationship with God, so vertical, and let's work on the relationship with others, so horizontal, right?
Hmm.
And so he's focus on that horizontal and the vertical relationships because those are the things that are wildly important. Those two aspects of relationship is what's going to make it happen. And secondly, I would say communication, communication, communication. If I don't communicate well in our church setting, how can I expect anybody else to communicate well? And so I can't say that I'm going to do something and then not follow through. So the best way is to be honest, be open, be honest with your husband when he hurts your feelings. Be honest with your boss because, you were overlooked for the promotion. Be open to the fact that most people do not wake up and say, Lauren, I hope to annoy her today. No, nobody wakes up doing that.
Right.
Not your spouse, not your kids, not your coworkers. They just don't. They're simply doing the best they can with what they have. They're just trying to get through the day. So sprinkling that little grace everywhere you go is super helpful. And if we do it to just simply not try to be perfect, but to really focus on relationship with God and relationship with others. And I think when we communicate that, we're less likely to harbor unforgiveness, bitterness, and resentment. Because if I tell you, hey, Lauren, you stole my cookie and you hurt my feelings, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was your cookie. I was hungry and I just ate it. Let me replace it. Or,
Yeah.
it's something's just, it's easier for me to tell you, hey, you did something that made me feel hurt, uncomfortable, whatever, versus now I'm talking to, little Susie over here and said, well, Lauren, don't put any cookies in the refrigerator. Lauren's just going to take your cookie. Now you're in trouble. Now I've got myself in trouble. It's easier for me to simply just, Lauren, that was my favorite cookie and you ate my cookie. And then what's going to happen? You say, I'm so sorry I was hungry. There's two things probably going to happen. Oh my gosh, Lauren, I am so sorry. That was so silly of me. I'm going to probably bring you more cookies tomorrow because I
Right.
didn't know you were hungry. It's so much easier to over communicate, which I don't think you can do than to just harbor all of those feelings. It's just not necessary.
And make all those assumptions. I love that because it's really kind of getting to the bottom of, granting grace is really, I feel like, you know, thinking about those intentions, thinking about what someone else might be feeling and giving them that benefit of the doubt, and like you said, like communicating it, which I'm probably not the best at, I'm one of those wives that just assumes my husband knows why I'm mad at him when really he has no clue I'm even mad in the first place. Um, so, but when we can think about it or and communicate it clearly is where, you can't be mad about someone that just makes an honest mistake. It's hard to hold on to those feelings, like you're saying, when you know that they're very, they are very sorry for hurting your feelings and doing something that upsets you. And so I think that really is a good message for our kids. To not just jump to conclusions and be all in your feelings, but really, take a minute to reflect back on that and what they could be going through too. So,
And I think, oh,
oh
sorry.
no, yeah, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to pop this little nugget in there.
Yeah.
And even if you do run into people that are intentionally trying to
Mm-hmm.
hurt you, that gives you a reason to, you know what? This relationship is fractured anyway. This is not how God told me to treat him, and this is not how God told me to treat others. Maybe that friendship is not real friendship. Maybe I just need to put boundaries up and say, this is not what, if you went out of your way to steal my cookie just to watch me get annoyed or hurt me or be, evil,
Yeah.
we don't need to be communicating anyway. Those friendships are twofold. We are both giving something and sacrificing something. So, yes, even if we communicate and you do come back and say, you know what, you're right. I did take your cookie and I took it because I wanted it. Well, Lauren, I'm so sorry you feel like that. I'm glad that cookie blessed you, but you know what? I don't think this friendship is for me. And we just need to put some boundaries up
Yeah.
and that's okay too. It's absolutely okay to say, you know what? You're not in it, so there's no reason to waste our time.
Yeah. I love that you did add that in and talk about setting our healthy boundaries. Cause I mean, especially for kids, there's a lot of times where, they wake up tired, grumpy, someone hurts their feelings. So they're going to go hurt somebody else's feelings in return. And, you hope that over time they'll notice that they don't have to come from that place of hurt and anger and purposely be mean or rude to anybody, but that's more on them. And as our kids or our students say, you can only be responsible for your actions and your reactions. And like you said, setting that boundary with them, and hopefully they'll see the light one day. Our
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
can't make anybody do anything.
right.
Can't make people love you. You can't make people like you. No matter what media tells you,
Hmm.
you simply can't force anybody to do anything. Right.
That's
I
true.
love that.
And then there's no use. It kind of takes the weight off of their shoulders and saying, okay, well, it's not on me. I don't have to harbor this. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to have anxiety about this. Like I know I'm being the best friend that I can be and hope that they'll be the best friend that they can be one day, you know?
And if it's not reciprocated, that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's time to walk away.
Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely.
So our kids are constantly watching, and I'm a big supporter of adults taking accountability and asking for forgiveness, especially from our kids sometimes and in front of our kids at times too. So none of us are perfect, and we can't expect our kids to act perfectly either. And I don't like going into this expectation that just because I'm the mom or the parent or even a teacher, um, that you always have to do things right and get things perfectly every time too. So, do you have any insights on recognizing those types of moments and resolving conflict to model for our kids when we should really say, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have raised my voice like that, or maybe I shouldn't have been so impatient with this, and how we can really model that for kids?
I love that question. So Dana and I don't actually have children, but what works wonders with my nephew Gabriel is I literally get down to his level.
Hmm.
I crouch down, I get down on, on just to his level, eye to eye, and I listen. I simply listen. If he's having a meltdown, what is it really about?
Yeah.
Because you're not melting down because you want to scream at the top of your lungs. No, you got your feelings hurt, you're not getting something that you want, you're hungry. What is it that this is the active meltdown is about? So me, that's what we use. We get down to his level and simply listen because eventually we're going to kind of calm down for a second, and actively listening to him has taught me how to be a better listener.
Yeah.
It's taught me how to be a better aunt. And to be honest, teaching him he's worth my time and my full attention when he's trying to navigate his emotions has made an awry just so much better because it slows everything down. I'm not, no, you have to tell me right now. No, let's just wait it out. I simply don't have anything better to do than to just figure out what's going on in your head. And that's simply because we didn't necessarily have that growing up.
Yeah.
My parents were, 2 to 3 jobs just trying to make ends meet. It was just my sister and I, and that's all we had. So they weren't just actively listening per se. You just do the best. Again, you're doing the best you can with what you have. So we have a little bit more flexibility with my nephew because we don't have him every single day.
Hmm.
So teaching him, loving him, guiding him, supporting him, we just give him the best and full attention that we possibly have. If we have just a holiday or a dinner, just investing our time with him to show him, hey, we're here, we love you, and we see you.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't get that. I did not feel seen. What did I have to do to feel seen? Do something bad.
Yeah. You act
I
out.
had I
Yeah.
had to do something bad to get attention because everything else was expected.
Hmm.
I was a pretty good kid. So if I needed extra love, attention, or whatever, I had to get rowdy. But now was it the attention I needed to get? No. But it was attention nonetheless. So instead, that's what I've kind of modeled for Mr. Gabriel is just get down, listen to him, and just wait.
Yeah.
Wait. What is it that you actually need? And that's what we all need is when we have a little meltdown, adults, we have meltdowns. What is it really about? Did you get your feelings hurt? Are you not feeling good? Are you stressed? Have you taken on way too many things? Why do you have a stress headache for the last 8 days? That's not normal.
Yeah.
So,
I love
yes,
that.
slowing down and listening to.
Oh, I feel like, of course there's a place for, more discipline or whatever, and, things like that. But I feel like we come from, the generations where, I think the saying was kids are supposed to be seen and not heard. And we're just supposed to sit there quietly and just, automatically, show our parents and our adults in our lives, this respect. And I love how this are, the generation that we're parenting and we're bringing up now, we can show them respect. We show the children respect by really listening to them, like you said, really knowing and showing them that, their voices are important, their opinions are important. Like, yes, there may or may not be a most ideal time to have an outburst and, make a ton of noise and stuff. And we can teach in those moments. But, overall, I think that when you ask a kid forgiveness, when you can admit your own mistakes, when you can listen to them and help them through their mistakes, it's really tapping into that emotional needs that we probably didn't get, growing up. And hopefully it's just setting them up in the future for, how they can model that and regulate themselves as adults too.
Absolutely. I mean, I was disciplined with all types of objects growing
Mm-hmm.
up, right? And it's not that's above my pay grade. I can't tell you how you discipline your kids is right or wrong. That's above my pay grade. But I was disciplined verbally with with things around the house. I'm a Latina, so the chancla, the flip flop, it flew in our house.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, unfortunately, I don't. I cannot tell you, and my mom has long passed. I can't tell you the one time she ever said, "Will you forgive me? I'm sorry."
Yeah.
It was just, you just move on. Now, is it a culture thing? I don't know. Was it an authority thing? I don't know. All I know is I think that there would have been so much more trust
Yeah.
if that door would have been open of, hey, you know what? I had a really hard day and you were the first person that just came in all muddy and gross. And I told you not to go jump in that mud puddle. That is an active conversation that I'm replaying that as a kid, I
Yeah.
remember that happening. And she lashed out. As a mom, I guarantee you, she didn't mean to lash out. She didn't want to lash out at her kid. But I came in muddy and gross after she told me I disobeyed her orders and requests. I did it anyway. And there were repercussions,
Yeah.
right? But if she would have come back later that night to say, "Look, I really did tell you not to go," and there was a different conversation, I think that would have made the relationship stronger. There was nothing wrong with our relationship, but I think it would have made it deeper.
Yeah.
That I would have been afraid to talk to her. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been afraid to tell her my real feelings. And I did. I kept them close because I didn't want her to think I was less than, that I couldn't handle myself. I didn't want to be made fun of. She was such a strong woman. So I just kept things close to me. And I think that really crippled a mother-daughter relationship that could have been even adolescent, young adult that we simply didn't have. We had a much deeper relationship when I was an adult 30s, much deeper. But I
Yeah.
think we really did lack the communication that we could have had a deeper relationship as a young adult.
And I think, and that's how they were raised too. So, I mean,
Hmm.
it comes down to she didn't know any better, kind of
Hmm.
thing. But also, I feel like when you get down on the kids' level and you ask them for forgiveness and you kind of explain, yourself and take accountability for your feelings, that takes that, the kids will internalize that. If they think that you're mad at them for something, then it's their fault. They did something bad. They're responsible for my feelings. And as the adult, I'm responsible for my feelings. And I don't ever want my kids to kind of have to, like you said, tiptoe around and make sure that they're doing everything perfectly, because that's just not a safe and secure way for them to, embrace their childhood. So I think stories like that are so important because it is how we're breaking those cycles. And just now that we know better, we can do better, and at the time, that's how things were done. That's how everybody did it. And so now I think we're really leaning into a generation where we can, just like you said, be honest, be open, communicate more, ask forgiveness, and hopefully resolve conflicts on a smoother note.
Right. There's such a big difference between being weak and meek,
Yeah.
right? As a kid, I didn't understand that. If I did something, I thought I was being meek, um, and that was fine. Um, I didn't want anybody to ever think I was weak. And so keeping everything bottled up inside was much, much easier. And to be honest, I will tell you, even in the last 5 years, I've learned to be meek
Yeah.
because just growing up, you don't want to be weak, meek. You don't want to be any of the things. I'm one of two girls, and it was hard. It was hard. I grew up in the country. You don't cry. You put
Yeah.
some
You
dirt on it.
can't
You keep
be
going.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't tell you in good faith if that was the best possible outcome for me.
Yeah.
And I won't ever know. But what I can say is that I can give my nephew my full attention when he's not able to communicate it effectively and say, hey, look, you have my full attention. What's going on?
Yeah. And he'll know in the future too that, you're a safe person to come to. And if we make them feel scared to share their feelings with us, then it only gets harder as they get older and have more complex problems and, they try to hide things from us even more. So I think it's really it's a full circle moment. It all comes in together and we just do the best we can with what we have.
Absolutely. And just school kids are not nice.
Right.
Right? And there's going to be a day when he's going to have to uh, uh, be socialized more in depth with other people that might say things that are not appropriate and nice, and he's going to have to navigate that.
Yeah.
And if he sounds different, walks different, all those things, they're going to notice. So I want to be able to equip him well enough to say, hey, look, yeah, I might say things differently or walk differently or whatever. But he's going to have the tools to communicate it as best as he can because bullies are going to be bullies no matter
Hmm.
what. They're just there. But if he can at least model of, hey, look, this is who I am, and we don't know what it's going to look like. He's almost 4 years old, but
Hmm.
he's going to be coming to that age where he's going to have to express himself, and we're praying that it's gonna have an opportunity to unfold with the best communication skills that he can possibly have.
Yeah. So we love how Pickles exemplifies compassion, but also wanted to mention a couple of other books for forgiveness as well. And just coincidentally, but sticking to our pickle talk, the first one I found is called Sweet and Sour by Brian Yanish. And it tells the story of two opposing pickles who have to learn how to get along despite being opposite in every way. And so I'm sure we can all, even as adults, relate to people that are just, completely opposite of us and how we all have to learn how to get along. Okay. The second is titled That's My Truck by Dr. Becky Kennedy. I'm a huge fan of hers if you haven't heard of her, but all of her great parenting advice. The story really stems from and is geared maybe for a little younger kids, but it deals with hitting and self-regulation when it comes to sharing, because that's probably one of the first conflicts our littles have to deal with and learn to navigate, is sharing, and how to redirect that into a safer reaction. But yeah, I really think the more we can teach our kids that we're more alike than different, that we all have similar feelings deep down, even if they may look different on the surface, that's where real empathy and compassion can come from. And ultimately, that resolution and forgiveness. So it's so much easier to forgive someone when their intentions are more clear than just going off of your own reactions alone. So
Love it. I was not aware of those books, so thank you so much for sharing that with me.
yeah, I love Dr. Becky. She's got a ton of info on Instagram, and she just has a lot of real life scenarios where my kid said this, what do I do? My kid did this, what should I do? And, she has a very real approach. And, like you said, she listens to the kids, she respects the kids' emotions, she respects their opinions. And it's really, you're not resisting that conflict, but you're really trying to smooth over those resolutions and how to get there and easier and more effectively with our kids. So definitely check her out.
Very good.
Okay, so we're going to wrap things up. But before you go, can you tell our listeners how they can follow along with Pickles and your other books and all your adventures on your socials?
Oh, that would be my honor. Yes, Pickles for Breakfast. We thought we wrapped up the book tour, but we've actually have three more opportunities coming up in the October and November dates. So we're really excited. You can follow Pickles and Finn on their little adventures by going to my Instagram at Carolyn Soto Jackson, Or if you even have questions or would like to find live updates for the Wild Adventures, my first book, the books to come, and free Bible studies, to be honest, you can find those at carolynsotojackson.com. Please feel free to reach out to me on both of those. Someone will get back to you. If you don't hear from me, please just pop another question in there. It does get a little busy, but you are important. We'd love to hear from anybody that is willing to ask questions.
I love that. Yeah, we have a couple of events coming up that we'll both be at. I'm calling them since we're in the month of October already, the book character bash. So kids can come out here in our Fulshire and Katy or Fulshire and Richmond areas in October and get to have some fun dressing up as your favorite book characters and some tricks and some treats in store. So can't wait for that.
So good.
Okay, so that's it for this episode. I hope you all have gained a couple of helpful nuggets on resolving kiddo conflict, and we'll see you next time on the Blooming Books podcast. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Blooming Books podcast, recorded and produced by Blooming Rose Kids. We've opted to keep our series ad-free, and if you'd like to support our efforts, please consider shopping our own custom-signed Blooming Rose books at bloomingrosekids.com and our academic materials on our Teachers Pay Teachers page. All of the books mentioned in this episode are also available via our affiliate links in the show notes. We so appreciate you being here and hope to see you next time.